Hello, we're at chapter 8. Josie plays mermaid with Joe's boys. While the young bears were having serious experiences at home, Josie was enjoying herself immensely at Rocky Nook, for the Lawrences knew how to make summer idleness both charming and wholesome. Beth was very fond of her little cousin. Mrs. Amy felt that whether her niece was an actress or not, she must be a gentlewoman, and gave her the social training which marks the well-bred woman everywhere, while Uncle Laurie was never happier than when rowing, riding, playing, or lounging with two gay girls beside him. Josie bloomed like a wild flower in this free life. Bess grew rosy, brisk, and merry, and both were great favorites with the neighbors, whose villas were by the shore or perched on the cliffs along the pretty bay. One crumpled rose leaf disturbed Josie's peace, Peace. One baffled wish filled her with a longing which became a mania, and kept her as restless and watchful as a detective with a case to work up. Miss Cameron, the great actress, had hired one of the villas and retired thither to rest and create a new part for next season. She saw no one but a friend or two, had a private beach, and was invisible except during her daily drive, or when the opera glasses of curious gazers were fixed on a blue figure disporting itself in the sea. The Lawrences knew her, but respected her privacy, and after a call left her in peace till she expressed a wish for society. A courtesy which she remembered and repaid later, as we shall see. But Josie was like a thirsty fly buzzing about a sealed honey pot, for this nearness to her idol was both delightful and maddening. She pined to see, hear, talk with, and study this great happy woman, who could thrill thousands by her art and win friends by her virtue, benevolence, and beauty. This was the sort of actress the girl meant to be, and few could object if the girl was really hers, for the stage needs just such women to purify and elevate the profession, which should teach as well as amuse. If kindly Miss Cameron had known what passionate love and longing burned in the bosom of the little girl whom she idly observed skipping over the rocks, splashing about the beach, or galloping past her gate on a Shetland pony, she would have made her happy by a look or a word. But being tired with her winter's work and busy with the new part, the lady took no more notice of this young neighbor than of the seagulls in the bay, or daisies dancing in the fields, nosegays left on her doorstep, serenades under the garden wall, and the fixed stare of admiring eyes were such familiar things that she scarcely minded them, and Josie grew desperate when all her little attempts failed. I might climb that pine tree and tumble off on her piazza roof, or get Shelty to throw me just at her gate and be taken in fainting. It's no use to try to drown myself when she's bathing. I can't sink. And she'd only send a man to pull me out. What can I do? I will see her and tell her my hopes, and make her say I can act some day. Mamma would believe her, and if she would only let me study with her, what perfect joy that would be. Josie made these remarks one afternoon as she and Bess prepared for a swim, a fishing party having prevented their morning bathe. You must bide your time, dear, and not be so impatient. Papa promised to give you a chance before the season is over, and he always manages things quite nicely. That will be better than any queer prank of yours, answered Bess, tying her pretty hair in a white net to match her suit, while Josie made a little lobster of herself in scarlet. I hate to wait, but I suppose I must. Hope she'll bathe this afternoon, though it's low tide. She told Uncle she should have to go in then, because in the morning people stared so and went on her beach. Come and have a good dive from the big rock. No one round but nurses and babies, so we can romp and splash as much as we like. Away they went to have a fine time, for the little bay was free from other bathers, and the babies greatly admired their aquatic gymnastics, both being expert swimmers. As they sat dripping on the big rock, Josie suddenly gave a clutch that nearly sent Bess overboard as she cried excitedly, "There she is! Look! Coming to bathe! How splendid! Oh, if she only would drown a little. Let me save her, or even get her toe nipped by a crab, anything, so I could go and speak. Don't seem to look. She comes to be quiet and enjoy herself. Pretend we don't see her. That's only civil," answered Bess, affecting to be absorbed in a white-winged yacht going by. "Let's carelessly float that way, as if we're going for seaweed on the rocks. She can't mind if we're flat on our backs with only our noses out. Then when we can't help seeing her, we'll swim back as if anxious to retire. That will impress her, and she may call to thank the very polite young ladies who respect her wishes," proposed Josie, whose lively fancy was always planning dramatic situations. Just as they were going to slip from their rock, as if fate relented at last, Miss Cameron was seen to beckon wildly. As she stood waist deep in the water looking down, she called to her maid, who seemed searching along the beach for something, and not finding what she sought, waved a towel towards the girls as if summoning them to help her. "Run, fly, she wants us," cried Josie, tumbling into the water like a very energetic turtle, and swimming away in her best style towards this long-desired haven of joy. Bess followed more slowly, and both came panting and smiling up to Miss Cameron, who never lifted her eyes, but said in that wonderful voice of hers, "I've dropped a bracelet. I see it, but can't get it. Will the little boy find me a long stick? I'll keep my eye on it so the water shall not wash it away. "I'll dive for it with pleasure, but I'm not a boy," answered Josie, laughing as she shook the curly head which at a distance had deceived the lady. "I beg your pardon. Dive away, child. The sand is covering it fast. I value it very much. Never forgot to take it off before. I'll get it." And down went Josie to come up with a handful of pebbles, but no bracelet. "It's gone. Never mind, my fault," said Miss Cameron, disappointed but amused at the girl's dismay, as she shook the water out of her eyes and gasped bravely, "No, it isn't. I'll have it if I stay down all night." And with one long breath, Josie dived again, leaving nothing but a pair of agitated feet to be seen. "I'm afraid she will hurt herself," said Miss Cameron, looking at Bess, whom she recognized by her likeness to her mother. "Oh, no, Josie's a little fish. She likes it," and Bess smiled happily at this wonderful granting of her cousin's desire. "You're Mr. Lawrence's daughter, I think. How do you do, dear? Tell Papa I'm coming to see him soon. Too tired before, quite savage. Better now. Ah, there's our pearl of divers. What luck?" she asked as the hills went down and Dripping Head came up. Josie could only choke and splutter at first, being half strangled, but though her hands had failed again, her courage had not, and with a resolute shake of her wet hair, a bright look at the tall lady, and a series of puffs to fill her lungs, she said calmly, "Never give up is my motto. I'm going to get it if I have to go to Liverpool for it. Now then." And down went the mermaid, quite out of sight this time, groping like a real lobster at the bottom of the sea. "Plucky little girl. I like that. Who is she?" asked the lady, sitting down on a half-covered stone to watch her diver, since the bracelet was lost sight of. Bess told her, adding with the persuasive smile of her father, "Josie longs to be an actress and has waited for a month to see you. This is great happiness for her. Bless the child, why didn't she come and call? I'd have let her in, though usually I avoid stage-struck girls as I do reporters," laughed Miss Cameron. There was no time for more. A brown hand grasping the bracelet rose out of the sea, followed by a purple face as Josie came up so blind and dizzy she could only cling to Bess, half drowned but triumphant. Miss Cameron drew her to the rock where she sat and, pushing the hair out of her eyes, revived her with her hearty "Bravo, bravo," which assured the girl that her first act was a hit. Josie had often imagined her meeting with the great actress, the dignity and grace with which she would enter and tell her ambitious hopes, the effective dress she would wear, the witty things she would say, the deep impression her budding genius would make, but never in her wildest moments had she imagined an interview like this. Scarlet, sandy, streaming, and speechless, she leaned against the illustrious shoulder, looking like a beautiful seal as she blinked and wheezed till she could smile joyfully and exclaim proudly, "I did get it! I'm so glad! Now get your breath, my dear, then I shall be glad also. It was very nice of you to take all that trouble for me." "How shall I thank you?" asked the lady, looking at her with the beautiful eyes that could say so many things without words. Josie clasped her hands with a wet spat, which rather destroyed the effect of the gesture, and answered in a beseeching tone that would have softened a far harder heart than Miss Cameron's, "Let me come and see you once, only once. I want you to tell me if I can act. You will know. I'll abide by what you say, and if you think I can, by and by, when I've studied very hard, I shall be the happiest girl in the world. May I?" "Yes, come tomorrow at 11. We'll have a good talk. You shall show me what you do, and I'll give you my opinion, but you won't like it." "I will, no matter if you tell me I'm a fool. I want it settled. So does Mama." "I'll take it bravely if you say no, and if you say yes, I'll never give up till I've done my best, as you did." "Ah, my child, it's a weary road, and there are plenty of thorns among the roses when you've won them. I think you have the courage, and this proves you have the perseverance. Perhaps you'll do. Come, and we'll see." Miss Cameron touched the bracelet as she spoke, and smiled so kindly that the impetuous Josie wanted to kiss her, but wisely refrained, though her eyes were wet with softer water than any in the sea, as she thanked her. "We are keeping Miss Cameron from her bath, and the tide is going out. Come, Josie," said thoughtful Bess, fearing to outstay their welcome. "Run over the beach and get warm. Thank you very much, little mermaid. Tell Papa to bring his daughter to see me any time. Goodbye," and with a wave of her hand, the tragedy queen dismissed her court, but remained on the weedy throne, watching the two little figures race over the sand with twinkling feet until they were out of sight. Then, as she calmly bobbed up and down the water, she said to herself, "The child has a good stage face. Vivid, mobile, fine eyes, abandon, pluck, will. Perhaps she'll do. Good stock, talent in the family. We shall see." And I think I'll stop right there. And we're still in chapter 8. Don't know how long it is, but that's good for today, I think. Leaving you at a cliffhanger. As Miss Linda says. Miss Linda Jean House says I do. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Be sweet. Don't be ugly. Hope to see you all live at 5 today. It's Wednesday, hump day, the 15th of January. I know, because I have my doctor's appointment tomorrow, the one I have every other month. Oh, that costs me big, 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 big bucks that I have to save up for. Oh, brother. These doctors. Woo. But thank God for them. And thank God for all of you. And praying for all of you. Praying for Australia. Praying for all that we mentioned in our live on Monday. And just everybody and everything. Mwah. Love to you all. Bye-bye.